Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is a chill Tuesday morning. I'm DSP, and I welcome you to the Level 1 podcast. It is the 20th of February, 2024, and I hope you're all doing well. And you're ready for a chill day for sure, although a day that's a little uncertain, I guess would be the best way to say it, because I'm actually not even sure what we're doing for half of today, although based on polling and feedback, it seems like we're actually leaning towards something that I'm not surprised, but it's just funny because I tend to always get conflicting feedback. Let's put it that way. So we're going to talk about that on the show today, particularly today, once again, in the realm of all kinds of game news and stuff. It's dry. It's a dry day. But I think tomorrow's going to be different, and the reason being, tomorrow morning there's actually a Nintendo Direct that's going to take place at all times, 6 a.m. Pacific time. Yeah. So if you want to get up at the crack of dawn to hear about a bunch of Nintendo announcements, good for you. I'll be sleeping. But tomorrow, we will definitely be talking Nintendo with whatever news comes out of that event. But outside of that, everything's been calm and cool, and not too much going on. I feel like next week there'll be a lot more game news, right? Especially with new releases that are going to start to come out pretty much every week starting next week. So today, there's not a heck of a lot to talk about on the show, but that's okay. Because, number one, we'll do a brief recap of what we did yesterday. But number two, I'd like to talk about some feedback and probably go to the suggestions box that I set up 3 days ago now to take more of your suggestions. But it's just funny that, again, I feel like when it comes to the feedback I'm getting very big conflicting feedback, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment when we discuss further. Anyway, so today, I'm excited for Baldur's Gate 3. It's a big day, because I feel like after over 80 hours in the playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3, now that we have hit Act 3, we're now in the intro to Act 3, we are getting the big plot dump that we've been looking for the entirety of the game, right? And I almost feel like, and I don't know, I'm guessing here. This is me speculating, because I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 before. This is my legit first playthrough of the game. I'm speculating that what's going to happen is we're going to get a big plot dump, and then they're going to unleash us onto the city, and we're going to be free to explore and do whatever we want. And I feel like Baldur's Gate is where you're going to find a lot of the plot conclusions for each character. Like, you'll probably see a plot conclusion for Astarion, where you can either free him from the control of his vampire master, or something else happens. Or Shadowheart, right? Who now has been turned against the cult of Shar. So maybe there's a situation there. Either it's a redemption or something. Same thing with Lae'zel, right? Where now the Githyanki don't want her anymore. They see her as like a traitor. Which is hilarious because it wasn't her choice. Like, they turned on her. So what will happen with that, right? So I feel like each character are going to have their big plot culminations, like in this final area of the game. But maybe that's why a lot of people say Act 3 is the weakest act. Because the entire game you're working towards this plot line with the Illithids and all of that. And it sounds to me like in Act 3, that's going to take a back seat so that everything else can happen. And maybe the finale is weak. I don't know. You know, again, I haven't played it yet. I'm trying to think, because everyone has always said that Act 3 is the one that you're going to be upset about. Because number one, it lacks polish, but that was at launch. And now the game's been out for, you know, many, many months. So maybe they fixed that. But also that, you know, basically, there's a ton more stuff going on at the end game here. And it feels like it's kind of like disjointed, maybe. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. Like, today, it seems like we're getting our answers that we've been waiting for the entire playthrough. So then I don't know where that's going to go. Like, that might spoil, like they say, it spills the beans. If all the beans are spilled today, then what is the next 40 hours of gameplay, right? Like, what's coming? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out, okay? Anyway, let's find out today together, all right? And basically, just so you guys know, we've got a ton of Baldur's Gate 3 in the next week. We got today and tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, and Tuesday. Yes, we have 5 more Baldur's Gate streams, including today. So that's 15 more hours of gameplay coming before the game finally goes on a hiatus so I can play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, I'm not saying that I won't play Baldur's Gate 3. I'm saying we're going to dramatically reduce the amount that I play. So, just to forewarn everyone, it'll be good, though, because we'll already be basically reaching the end game. So, that's fine, right? If we're reaching the end game, then it's okay to say, all right, let's, for a while, like, play less or put it on a little bit of a suspend so we can play Final Fantasy. Uh-oh, Jasper is just finding my new pop guard for the first time. You just saw it? Do you like it, Jasper? I like it better than the old one. I could see the chat better. I could see the chat right now. I don't even have to look around. I can actually see what everyone's saying, right? Pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm excited for today. I'm excited, honestly, for the next week, where it seems like we're going to get our big, you know, kind of push to the end of the game. And, you know, hopefully we'll have great momentum so that when we have to play it less, it doesn't feel like, oh, no, we were right in the midst of getting a progress and now we're suspended for a while because we're not playing as much. Because there's no way I'm playing 15 hours in a week. You know, when Final Fantasy VII comes out, that's my focus. And I guarantee you, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to be long. It's probably going to end up, once again, being another 80-hour RPG. That's probably going to take me a month or two to beat. So I'll definitely be focusing a lot on that. I'm very excited for it. It's one of my most hyped, if not my most hyped game of the year so far. So definitely going to go gung-ho into that. So that's that. So let's talk. Let's recap yesterday quickly. And then let's talk about tonight. Because I feel like tonight is really weird. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you're going to see what I mean about conflicting feedback. Okay? Cool. So, yesterday was a great streaming day. We got back into full-time gaming while Sunday had been reacting all day long to various things. Yesterday was all progress in various games that I'm playing. First stream was Tekken 8. And I had a lot of fun with that first stream because, first of all, we created a customized version of Yoshimitsu, the character who I've been using in Tekken 8 recently, in the character creator mode. And we made him look like Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles. Now, does he look exactly like Casey Jones? No, we did like a hybrid where he's kind of purple but metallic as well. We basically did as much as we could to make him look pretty cool with the limitations of what the game allows. You know, the game only has certain customizations you can purchase and equip and change the colors of. At first, I was going to make the Shredder, but sadly, they wouldn't let you change the colors of the helmet. It was stuck as, like, yellow, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. I don't want a yellow Shredder helmet that wouldn't match the character. So, I was doing, you know, as much as I could. We got the character. It took about half an hour. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's jump into online ranked play. And it went about exactly how I expected it was going to go. And what I mean by that is, by the way, I hear landscapers outside. They can't be ours. Our landscapers come on Wednesday. So if you hear that noise, I can't do anything about it. I think that might be next door or something. Anyway, so we jumped into ranked play. And basically, right away, you know, the first hour, I'm just trouncing all the opponents. And everyone's like, I don't get it. I thought he was going to play ranked. That's how ranked works. When you start playing ranked play, you have to climb the ranks. So I'm playing at the bottom of the ranks and basically beating, you know, noobs who are down at the bottom and don't really know what they're doing. But man, once we got to like the second hour, it got really good. Like I started playing people of my ranking or higher, and the matches are getting great. Even people who are ranked higher than me, I am hanging and doing well in matches, and in some cases beating them. And that's a good sign, right? It's more of a sign that I'm not playing as much as most other people who are playing Tekken. Like, you know, a lot of the people playing Tekken online, they're playing pretty much constantly. It's their game right now. And I play it, what, twice a week? So my rankings aren't great. But then when I actually play it, I actually beat the crap out of some people who are ranked higher than me, which is great. But right now, my biggest shortcomings in Tekken, number one would be execution. I still feel like I have some issues with execution, notably blocking low. Like, the big thing in Tekken is high-low mix-ups and, like, counter hits. And I keep getting high-low mixed up all the time. I'm not blocking low effectively almost never, okay? So because of that, you know, there's some characters that have really fast sweeps that lead to combos. Or characters who, like, start attacking high, then all of a sudden their combo goes low and interrupts what you're doing. And that gets me every time. And that's going to come with time playing the game, recognizing those high-low moves and being able to block them appropriately, or, you know, stuffing or stopping them. But I'm just not there yet. You know, for me, the basics was, okay, learn the heat mechanics, right? Learn basic combos and juggles. Learn what moves are good punishes. Learn the properties of the throws and things each character I'm using. Once all those basics are established, now you get to the more specific character knowledge. And ultimately, that's where my weakness is in Tekken right now. It's character knowledge. For example, I went to fight a Raven yesterday. I don't think the Raven was particularly good. I just think I don't know Raven's moves. So this person's doing all these moves where Raven, like, looks like he's going to attack you, but then a clone appears. And I don't know what to do. Like, can I attack that clone? Or if I attack that clone, is that like a counter move? There were clones floating out of the sky. There were clones, you know, coming from both directions. There were clones coming out of his ass. And I didn't know what to do. Like, I don't even know how this hits. Is this a low hit, a high hit? Is this a throw? You can't tell until you play against the characters enough, right? So right now, my weakness in Tekken 8 is visual recognition of moves and character knowledge to know how do I block or how do I attack against these characters that aren't considered standard Tekken characters. You know, like, any character from, like, Tekken 1 through 4, I probably know already. But once you get to the characters that started getting weirder from, like, Tekken 5, 6, you know, the Alisas, the Lars, Raven, some of the newer characters from the last few as well, that are just, like, oddball characters, I just don't know much about them. And so it's more of a trial and error, or guessing. Oh, maybe now's my opening, right? Or maybe that's a low attack and just trying to get. But yeah, I am having a lot of problems blocking on reaction. Now, that got better over time with Street Fighter 6, where over the course of several months, right, I started learning all the different character moves and matchups. And okay, no, they're going to try to hit me low, I'm going to block, right? But right now, it's very slow in that regard, but I feel like I'll get better with practice. So actually, during this, you know, 2.5 hours of online session of Ranked MP, I did superb. It was, Eamon was here, and he's been counting all my wins and losses in Tekken 8, and I think he said I did, like, 35 wins and, like, 11 losses. Like, he did the math, and it was a 76% win-loss ratio. That's great for my first ranked session with the character. Of course, keep in mind now, I leveled up Yoshimitsu a lot. So now when I play again, I'll be playing much tougher competition, okay? I would say my biggest weakness are the Mishimas, because the Mishimas have really fast counter-hitting moves, such as the God Fist, you know, and they all have a different version, the electric, the wind, the whatever they are. And they're also fast, and they have big reach, and if they hit you, it's a counter hit that launches, and now they usually have a giant juggle after, and it could lead to, like, a wall push. And sometimes just one of those things hitting could lead to the end of a whole round. And that's rough. And a lot of them also have these tricky moves, like Jin certainly has a lot of tricky high-low moves that I don't recognize yet. So I gotta play more, you know. But I had a great time. I'm genuinely enjoying my time and my climb in Tekken 8. Keep in mind something, all right? Ever since Street Fighter 6 came out, this is the first time in many, many years that I've taken fighting games seriously. And I'm approaching Tekken 8 with a very similar mindset to Street Fighter 6. I know that I'm not good at it, but I need to put the time in and invest to learn, and I feel like I'm actually getting better every time I play, rather than me, how I used to cover fighting games, where I would flub around and basically just fail a lot, rage at it, pick a new character, do basics, and then rage again, and then basically quit the game. I'm not doing that anymore, right? So, right. Anyway, so yeah, I'm liking it. And here's the thing, though. Again, I'll just reemphasize. You might say, well, if you're liking it so much, then why aren't you playing it more? Right? Why aren't you playing it more? Why aren't you putting more time into it? You know, you're only playing it like twice a week right now. Friday night fights and then like one more stream. The answer is simple. Because you guys aren't asking for it. All right? I'm just being honest. If all of you were more into Tekken and asking for it more, and if when I played it, more people would show up and more people would engage, I'd play it more. With Street Fighter 6, we had that. Like with Street Fighter 6, absolutely, there were a lot more people into it who would show up and engage and support and seemed committed. Like the climb, remember we were counting wins and losses. We were excited to see when I was going to hit a certain rank with a certain character. It was a grind, but it was an awesome grind to see me improve over time after having been so detached from competitive Street Fighter for so long to finally get back into it, right? It was really neat. Well, I don't think it's the same thing with Tekken at all, right? Which I'll be honest, it's sad because I do like the game a lot. I actually am liking Tekken 8 a lot more than I thought I would, and I think it is because I am approaching it from a competitive mindset and a willingness to learn, as opposed to previously, I didn't do that. It was like, oh, it's a new fighting game. So I'll play the story mode, I'll do a couple arcade runs, I'll mess around with a few characters, and then within a week I'll start raging at the game and I'll drop it, right? But that's not my mentality anymore. Now I like these games for longevity purposes. I want to keep fighting games in my rotation in some respect, right? So I absolutely am liking my time with it, but I don't know how to make my audience like the game more. I just don't. I can't make the game look good because I'm not good at it, right? I'm not really raging at the game. I'm not, maybe that's what it is. Maybe people really liked the toxic rage of me playing Street Fighter 6 and freaking out at losing. And that's not really happening that much in Tekken. Not to say that I'm winning nonstop, but even my losses, I'm like, damn, the character knowledge. Like the Raven yesterday, I was like, I 100% lost to having no idea what's going on. And it's just like, there's a difference between getting angry because you lost because of the functionality of the online player. You swear you did the moves didn't come out, or something's really cheap and abusive, versus I just have no idea why I lost because I've never seen any of that before, right? So, anyway, I want more Tekken. I do. I'm going to keep Tekken in the rotation. I have no plans to remove Tekken from the rotation. I really like the game. I feel like Yoshimitsu right now is a great character, and I want to keep improving with the character. Out of all the characters I've used, Yoshimitsu seems like the one with the most variety right now, because he has these stance changes and everything. I have all these different tricks and psych outs and things that can lead to combos and punishes, which is really great. The only catch is damage. He doesn't do as much damage output, I would say, as like Paul. Oh my god, if Paul catches you with like one counter hit, it's just insane amount of damage. Same with King. If King can catch you with his throws, I mean, mixing you up and taking a big third of your life bar with a crazy throw, as opposed to, Yoshimitsu really has to get in a bunch of hits. So, I'm liking it, and I want to play more, but it is what it is. I can't keep playing a game that isn't really getting that much demand. You understand? I have to give you what you want, essentially. I have to find that balance. So, I loved Tekken yesterday. It was great. So last night's late stream was Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and it pretty much went as smoothly as I had hoped, meaning we took all of the currency that I had raised doing the Dondoko Island co-op with my wife over the last week, $96,000, and we went out on a crazy shopping spree. We bought level 4 weapons for each of my characters, okay? Then we went to the vocational school and did every single training course, leveling all of my stats up to level 6 and allowing me to then go back to the tour business and buy all the jobs. So now every job available is unlocked in the game up to this point in Chapter 6. Then we went and found all the crafting items. And we went and crafted... Excuse me, this stupid post-nasal drip is really pissing me off this morning. I'm really starting to lose my cool because I just want to do the podcast, and it won't stop dripping down the back of my sinuses, and I'm really going to get angry in a second. I'm just tired of it. You know? The shortcomings of the human body. What did I do to deserve postnasal drip my whole life? Didn't do anything wrong. You don't get it because you mistreat your body. You just get it. Fucking hereditary. My dad has it, I have to suffer with it the rest of my goddamn life, and it's disgusting. I've had enough of it, and I want to make content for you, and I'm sitting here with it pouring down my sinuses like a faucet. It's in my throat. It's disgusting. You know, you get to a point where you had enough. It's like, enough of this shit. And some people say, well, why is it that it only seems to affect you on certain streams? First of all, it usually is the worst in the morning. I don't know why, if there's a reason for that or not, but it usually is the absolute worst in the morning. By the time we get midway through my first stream, usually it's calmed down, and usually it doesn't affect me that much at night. The only time it affects me is if I sneeze. If I sneeze, then it, like, turns on again, and it's just like Niagara Falls back there, and then it takes a while for it to dry up again. So, it is what it is for now. I just have to suffer with it, and I really apologize for it. I hate it. It really bothers me as much as it bothers you. I'm the one sitting here coughing. You know, it's tickling my throat as I'm trying to talk. Anyway, continuing on. So last night, shopping spree in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Bought level 4 weapons, did all the vocational school courses, got all of the jobs unlocked that are available in the game up to this point, got blacksmithing items, went to the blacksmith, and leveled up those level 4 weapons a bunch. So essentially, like, we evolved them, basically, made better level weapons. So now, even though we're like level, I think we started at level 24, 25, we were fighting at a level 35 level. Like, that's the equipment we have is way overpowered for our level. And the reason I know that is because at the end of the stream, we went back into the challenge dungeon, and we entered the second floor. The first floor was all low-level stuff. We entered the second floor, and all the enemies there were like 10 levels above me, but I beat them. I actually went through the entire first floor, and I fought enemies that were showing as pink level enemies to me. And they even had the crowns. They were the mini bosses. And we still beat them. Right? We still defeated them. Which was great. I was like, wow. And we got tons of rewards. We went from level 24 up to like level 28 by the end of the stream. Tons of experience points. Learned all these new abilities. And get this. So we started with $96,000. Spent it all. Went into this dungeon. And within 30 minutes, we got 40-something thousand back again. So we earned half our money back in like 25 minutes, as opposed to the 5 hours of grinding it took in Dondoko Island to get the 96,000. So now that we've got the equipment needed, the best way to earn money in the game is the challenge dungeon. That's what I mean about Dondoko Island. It's really not necessary. Once you try it out and you learn the ropes and you do the first few levels of it, the first few, star levels, you really don't have to do it anymore. All right? Now, there is an end of Dondoko Island reward. If you do beat it, you get a super ultimate attack that actually is an attack that came from the first game. I know because my wife told me. If you beat it, you get the satellite laser attack, which means that a laser comes out of the sky and it just like hits all the enemies for giant damage. It's kind of like a last resort Hail Mary. If you're losing a fight, that's what you use it for. I don't think I'm going to need it. Nor do I think I'm going to need the money from Dondoko. If I can literally play for 20 minutes and earn $40,000, I'm pretty sure if we went an hour or two and actually beat the entire level 2 of the challenge dungeon, I'd have hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what's the point, right? Anyway, so yeah, I don't think we're going to go back to Dondoko, just being honest here. I think that playing the game normally will be the way to go. So by the end of last night's stream, monstrous progress. I was very pleased with how it went. Now when we play it again, it's going to be focusing on actually playing the game again. For 2 weeks, we took a departure from this game. No plot. No side missions. It was literally rush through the game and grind to unlock Dondoko, then do Dondoko. Now it's done, and now we can get back to the main game again. Okay? So I'm excited to do major side stories, also the main plot, when we resume on Wednesday. So there you go. Okay, so that was yesterday. Now, you guys have been voting on 2 things. The first thing you're voting on is what you would like to see me do for the next Retro React stream coming up on Sunday night over on my DSP Throwback channel. And I want to give you guys an update on that because the voting is close, but it absolutely seems to me like it is going in a certain direction that I think is probably going to stick. I'm going to be honest. I do feel like it is going to stick in this regard, so let's talk about that. Let me get it open here. So, You can currently vote on a poll on the DSP Throwback channel. You can find that youtube.com/@DSP Throwback on the community tab. And the poll is as follows. So far, we had a great time with the Retro React streams. Thanks to those who've attended and or watched the videos on demand here on the channel. I'm going to do another stream on Sunday, February 25th at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. What game do you want to see me react to this time? Vote here and good luck. Option number 1, more Red Dead Redemption 1. 8% of the vote, by far the absolute least. So I guess people are like, meh, which is weird because when Red Dead wasn't available to watch at all on the internet, people were screaming for it. So now I'm putting the playthrough on the internet and offering to react to it, and everyone's like, meh. So it's funny how many years people were angry that Red Dead was gone, and now it's coming back and doesn't seem to be that interesting to too many people. There's like maybe 150 people watching the playthrough at this point, but I get the feeling over time more will. You know, it's kind of a slow trickle thing. It is a very old playthrough, by the way. Option number 2, more Dark Souls 1. 22% of the vote. So a good chunk. Option number 3, more Heavy Rain. 41% of the vote. Wow, that's a huge chunk. And Bully, my 2013 original run, 30% of the vote. With 377 votes cast, keep in mind this poll will be running all week long until essentially Sunday of next week when the stream goes on. Now, do I expect many more votes? Maybe like 100. I think last time we got around 500 votes by the time the week had passed. So let's see. If you haven't voted yet, absolutely you could skew this vote, because to give you perspective, 1% is about 3 votes. Okay? There's an 11% differential between Heavy Rain and Bully. Okay? So 20, 30 people voting could skew the votes right now and could flip it. You know? If 100 people vote, which probably another 100 people will vote over the week, you could even see a game like Dark Souls 1 win this. So it's up to you. And by the way, I should say this as well. You may not be aware of this. At least last time I checked, on YouTube you could change your vote too. So let's say you had voted for Red Dead Redemption. You're like, oh crap, it's obviously not going to work. I want to cast my vote for one of the others that has a chance to win. I think you could change your vote. So you might want to look into that. I think you can go back and re-vote and it'll change your vote. That's how YouTube polling works. I know that sounds really weird. Imagine if you voted for the President of the United States and it looked like they were going to lose, so you retracted your vote and you voted for somebody else instead before the election was over. But that seems to be how YouTube polling works. Figure that one out. Okay? So anyway, please vote. Now listen, I'm happy with any of these. If we go do more Heavy Rain, I would love it. It was hilarious when we did Heavy Rain on Sunday night. I had a really great time with it. So 0 complaints for me if we end up doing more Heavy Rain. In regards to the Heavy Rain videos so far, they're doing pretty good. The first part already has over 1,000 views. The second part has nearly 300 views. And I think that that's probably what will happen all week, is that each part will get a few more hundred views and fewer hundred views, and part 1 will get a little bit more because it's part 1. So check it out. And by the way, Red Dead, every other day there's a new part on the channel, and Final Fantasy 13, every other day there's a new part on the channel. So continue to check that stuff out, and I hope you enjoyed the throwback content, and please vote if you haven't, okay? So that's poll number 1, all right? The other poll that you guys are voting on, which is very interesting, because it was for tonight's late stream. And you might say, tonight's late stream? You mean on DSPGaming? Don't you have more than enough stuff to do? Why would there be a poll on what we were doing on Tuesday night? Well, interestingly enough, we were going to do Dondoko Island Co-op tonight, but we quit it out. We're not going to do it anymore. We even found it's not even needed anymore. So we basically have a free night to do whatever. And so I proposed a lot of options the other day. I said, oh, what about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3? What about a Game Pass night? What about Tekken 8? What about just a chill night where we hang out? And basically people kind of weighed in over the course of the day. It doesn't seem like many people want Call of Duty anymore. It seems like that's kind of ran its course. There's not much demand for it anymore. And with the Game Pass thing, even though I liked the idea of a Game Pass night, the problem with the Game Pass night is that it doesn't really make sense when you don't have time to play Game Pass games, right? If in the next few weeks we were freeing up several slots in the schedule and we were going to have games to needed to play, I'd be like, oh, Game Pass night makes tons of sense. Let's do it. Let's pick games. Let's explore. We don't need that. Already, I'm so busy with Baldur's Gate 3, Tekken 8, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and now coming up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then there's more games in March coming out. I don't have time for filler games, right? So honestly, it doesn't make sense to be doing a Game Pass night right now, all right? So, last night, I posted up a poll on the main channel page here on DSPGaming. If you didn't see it, it was on the community tab, and you could still vote. All right. But just so you know, I want to give you the options for it. Here, let me go. Where is it? Your channel. Because I want to go to the community tab and actually look at the voting. It was very close, actually. So you guys are voting on 2 options. Option number 1, Tekken 8, more Casey Mitsu, which is my custom Yoshimitsu ranked multiplayer, because it went so well yesterday, and I'm getting much better with the character. I figured, why not keep that streak alive and keep it going? The other option is Chill with Phil, just talking and relaxing and having like a 2-hour late night chill session. It could be about anything. You could bring up topics. We could do Q&A. We could do suggestion box stuff. We could do whatever you want. All right? Here's the current polling with 570 votes in. Tekken 8, 46%. Chill with Phil, 54%. Okay? That's what we've got for results. And now I want to talk a little bit about confusing feedback. Okay? So here's what I mean about this. If you guys aren't aware, I have a suggestion box thread open for like 3 days now, right? And the suggestion box basically is like, just tell me what you want, you know, improvement. I want constructive criticism. And I'm approving all the suggestion box posts. And I'm not reading them fully, but I'm skimming them as I approve them. And I can tell you right now, a lot of the people posting in the suggestion box are saying things like, streamline the podcast, make the podcast shorter, less time talking, more time with gameplay. I'm not kidding. That's what it says in the suggestion box. Okay? Okay. That's the feedback you're leaving in the suggestion box. So then I do a poll. What do you want to see Tuesday night? And the majority of people are voting for, let's just hang out and talk. You mean like what I do on the podcast that the suggestion box is telling me to do less of? Huh? How does that make any sense? And the answer is it doesn't. None of it makes sense. I'm getting conflicting information. For example, we have seen in the last few weeks, actually what's happening on a lot of daytime streams is that people are coming by and they're talking and engaging in the podcast and supporting the stream on the podcast, right? We're getting things like tips and super chats and memberships and gifted memberships during the podcast. Then I start to play the game and all the contributions just stop. The engagement dies off. People leave. I sometimes have more viewers on this podcast than I do for the gameplay sessions. It's going to happen today. Right now we have 394 people on the podcast, and when I play Baldur's Gate, we get between 200-300, right? So you're telling me I have more of an audience for the podcast and more support for the podcast, but then my feedback is, do less of the podcast. And it makes me scratch my head and wonder, you know, what is this feedback then? Right? On the one hand, people are saying, do less of this, but then that's what's getting the most attention, the most support, and people are now voting in a poll for more of it. So, huh? Right? I just don't get it. It makes me confused. It absolutely makes me confused. So I don't know how to take that feedback, nor do I know how to respond to it or how to improve my content when I'm literally getting 2 completely opposite impressions from feedback I'm getting, right? In fact, what we've been talking about recently is me moving forward, okay, and me becoming older. I'm not going to be Mr. Full-Time Gamer forever. I'm 41 years old. I'm actually going to be 42 in less than 2 months. Holy shit. My birthday's almost here. It's being pretty crazy, right? As I've told you guys, when I do this, okay, certain days, today not so bad, but some days worse, I get really bad tenseness, pain in my right hand. I feel all the muscles here in these fingers are tense and tight, and sometimes I get shooting pain and either numbness in the hand. It's carpal tunnel, and I know I'm going to get it. I've been playing games full time. Well, not full time, but games full, nonstop, daily, for the last 15 to 16 years of my life. That's almost half of my life, right? So obviously, as I get older, this is going to become a problem, right? I'm not going to be able to just sit around and do this anymore. So I need to find a way to diversify content. It can't just be Phil sits around and plays video games all day. all right? But then at the same time, I get feedback, and the feedback is, do less of the podcast so you have more time to play games. Because the problem right now is it takes you too long to get through games. But did we not just have the discussion that I'm getting older and I shouldn't play as many games and we should diversify the content? Then why are you telling me to do less of the podcast to play more games? It doesn't make sense. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm really trying to grasp everything going on here. Like, it seems like there's definitely two routes that are happening. If you want the truth, here's what I really think is happening. I have a very different fan base that splits, right? I've been doing this for 16 years. You've got people who've been around for 16 years who like the content and want to see it continue in the way that they're used to. They want me to play a lot of games. They want to see me play all the hot new releases. They're upset when I skip games. Some people are so pissed at me because I skipped Suicide Squad, because I'm not checking out Helldivers, right? I didn't try Foam Stars. I'm not playing Persona 3 Reload. You know, they're angry at me. Why didn't you play all those games? Old Phil used to play every game, and now you're not playing those games? No. New Phil, modern Phil, is a live streamer. I can't play all those games. There's just not enough time. It's not viable, right? So there's not much I can really do about that, you know? But that's it. People are so used to the old days. Before I was a streamer, in 1 week I would beat 4 games, because first of all, games were much shorter. You know, the average game back then was 8 to 12 hours long. So you could play through a whole game in a few sessions and move on to the next. But in addition to that, now there's just a lot more games out at once, so you can't really play them all, right? And I'm a live streamer, meaning everything I do is on a stream that I have to have scheduled for you guys to be here to see it live, because that's how I make my livelihood. Back in the day, there was no direct capture and no live streaming. I could literally play as much or as little as a game as I wanted in one day, as long as I uploaded the videos. And then the videos would get tons of views, and the ad revenue would pay for my life, right? Now I have to be here on stream, but that's way less time, because it's about being here on a schedule, interacting with you guys, making sure the stream's running, playing a certain amount of gameplay, then having to upload separate, because you can't upload when you're streaming. That kills your bandwidth. Can't do that. So, you know, it's got to be limited. I used to actually be able to record and then upload while recording. So that's another reason why I would put out more gameplay. Every time I went to upload a batch of videos, I sat right back down and started playing again. I literally can't even do that right now. When I'm uploading, I can't stream. It's not possible, right? So, yeah, I've got to find that perfect balance. I do. And again, I'm seeing the future as a balance between gaming, which I still want to do, and I want you to understand, I don't want gaming to go away ever. Like, I would, if I'm going to continue to make content, you know, indefinitely, I want gaming to always be a part of it. Now, I don't know to what extent. Will it always be the majority of what I do? Will eventually it actually become the minority of what I do, and I'm doing other content more? I don't know. But I absolutely want to do gaming, you know, as much as I can, you know, as long as I can. It's my passion. It's what I got known for on the internet. And so I don't want that to go away. But I guess the question is, how much gaming? What gaming? Do we have to pick and choose? For example, right now, just think about this. I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. We were playing Sea of Stars. We put that on hiatus. We got Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out. And we got Dragon's Dogma 2. I think at one point what we're going to have to start doing is only pick and choosing the games from a certain genre that are the biggest ones or the ones that make sense and people want the most. And everything else just has to be skipped. Because I can't be playing 5 RPGs at once. It doesn't work. When you're playing 5 RPGs at once, you can never make enough progress in any to really satisfy the hardcore fan base of that game. You see? The one game that I am making consistent progress in is Baldur's Gate 3, and that's literally because I'm playing it insane amounts, because it's so long, right? And even then, now it's going to have to go on hiatus for Final Fantasy, and people are going to be upset. And it's like, dude, I played it for 100 hours, and you're going to be upset. I know they are. I know how these people are, right? But I definitely feel, to me, like there's just too much of the same, right? I played Street Fighter 6 for 7 months, dropped Street Fighter 6, and now I'm playing Tekken. So you get it? People are now, well, it's more fighting games. Well, you're right. It's a completely different kind of fighting game. But you're right. It's still a fighting game, right? And then you got your RPG fans who want RPGs, but then there's too many at once, and everyone's upset because there's not enough of the one that they want. So I'm definitely seeing patterns emerge in the games that I'm playing. And I think the key moving forward is going to be finding the happy balance of the right genre, the right amount of each genre at the same time to keep that variety going, to appease each type of gamer that actually watches me for those various types of games, but also finding a way to diversify my time for other projects. Like right now, I'll be honest, the one stream that I'm doing every couple of weeks of the Retro React stuff is a really great stream. We get a good audience of 200-300 people who love the retro stuff, and they're engaged, and they support that stream. So there's no reason for me to not continue that and do more of that. But the more that I do that, the less new stuff I can create, because I'm only one person. You know, this would be different if I were a team of people working together and we each split the content up, and one person could do this and one person could do this, and people, you know what I mean? I'm one dude. So I'm in demand a lot. It's crazy that I'm one guy being pulled in so many directions. We got the standard React style stuff here. We got the retro React throwback stuff here. We got the new stuff here. And then people also want me doing content where I'm like podcasting and talking and hanging out. So it's like, that's like 4 different projects I do all at once in a work week. When you think about it, I'm balancing all of them. It's wild to me because when I moved out here 10 years ago, my goal was to diversify. I told you that was one of the reasons I wanted to move, is because I wanted to do variety content. I didn't just want to be a gamer anymore. And inadvertently over the last decade, that's happened. I never really intended for that, because I remember I said I wanted to do a gaming news show every day in the morning, and now I basically do that. It's just called a podcast. It's not really a gaming news show. It's a podcast with a variety of topics, but I'm doing what I had intended, but I never realized it until I was already doing it, you know? So anyway, this is where my confusion comes in, right? So tonight you guys are voting. What do you want on the late stream? 54% right now have voted to just chill and hang out tonight. I'm okay with that. I'm really totally fine with that. I'll hang out with you guys for a couple hours. We could do whatever you want. Like I said, we could just talk. We could do some suggestion box stuff. You know, we could, you know, whatever you want. I'm okay. But the thing that gets me is so many people are like, don't make the podcast shorter, but then you vote for like essentially podcast 2.0 on the late stream. And it's like, so that's a mixed message, right? So I don't even know what's more in demand. Jasper, what do you think? Jasper, do you prefer talking podcast style interactive content, or do you prefer gameplay? Which do you like more? Gameplay or talking? Jasper, you gonna answer? Maybe Jasper's not the right person to ask. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say. So anyway, today, let's now get to the schedule for the week. Today, it's Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm excited because it looks like we're getting our answers today. It looks like we're going to finally get to the culmination of the big plot that's been going on with these illithids all game. We're going to find out what is the real purpose of the larva, who's in charge, what, you know, why right now does it seem like the mind flayers are split or something. We're going to find out, okay? I'm excited for that plot. Are you excited for that plot, Jasper Kitty? Jasper, are you excited? Why are you ignoring me? He ignores me only when he's here on camera. If he's not on camera, he's the most talkative kitty. But now you won't talk to me. Why not? Why won't you talk to me? Silly cat. Anyway. So, Baldur's Gate 3 today. Excited for it. Let's see where the plot goes. Tonight on the late stream, I don't know what we're doing. You know? Like, if I had my choice of gameplay, it would be Tekken. I want to play more with Yoshimitsu. Right? But it seems like when I play Tekken, it's not getting that much attention or interest. I did a major stream of it yesterday, and I think we got like 2 super chats the entirety of the stream. All the contributions came in during the podcast. And then as soon as I started playing Tekken, dead. Right? It's like, so what do we do? Right? I don't know. Maybe we just chill tonight. I'm okay with just chilling tonight and doing a chill session, just hanging out and talking with you guys for a couple hours. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Q&A. Like I said, we have suggestions in the suggestion box. We can take those and discuss those one by one. We can brainstorm ideas of things to do. But here's the thing, too. So a lot of people seem to be championing that this year I'm going to be doing political content, okay? And it's interesting because right now there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in politics in the United States. If you guys aren't aware, this is an election year. Already politics are hugely a hot topic. Just this morning, all right, I opened up my social media feed. And I'm not even just talking worldwide politics, just locally. There's stuff going on in my local area, politically, that there's all this different discussion and argument going back and forth about, and I'm like, wow, I could totally chime in on these different topics that are going on just in my local area, and give my opinions on them because some of them are kind of interesting. I'm just going to give you one quick example. I talked about it the other day. Local lawmakers who were on the city council of Seattle several years ago championed a new law. And that law was that everyone who does food delivery around here, so you're talking Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, that those delivery people would make a flat fee per delivery. That way they're guaranteed a pay. Because right now the way it was based was they only make tips. Now what if someone screws them on a tip? Then basically they're not making much money or any money. So this would basically guarantee them like a certain rate. Well, these people on the Seattle City Council championed it, made it a law, and then quit the council. The law went into effect in January, so now all food delivery costs has gone up by about $10 an order, and now all of the orders have plummeted. Absolutely plummeted. No one wants to order food anymore with delivery because the cost went so far up. So now all the drivers are like, well, now actually they were intending for us to make more money, but we're making less because there's less orders to deliver. And all the local restaurant businesses are like, yeah, and we're also losing money. I just read an article yesterday. A local pizzeria says we used to get 20 to 30 orders in the afternoon for pizza delivery from these apps. Now we're getting 2. So we went from 20 to 30 different orders of pizza, and now we're only making 2. We actually had to cut back on hours and send people home from work because there's no work. Isn't that great? So that's what I mean. Like, I could sit here and give you the entire, my discussion on it, what I think about what's going on with that, give you different sides of the argument. It would be actually a pretty interesting discussion to have. And I feel like I have a lot to add to that. A lot to say. But that's not my content. That's not gaming, right? That's nothing that what I usually do. That's nothing at all like the kind of content that I would usually make. It's completely different, right? And I feel like if I were to do that kind of content here, or even on the React channel, or even on the Throwback channel, it wouldn't work. Why? Because everyone knows that that is not really the content that I do there. I feel like if I was to do content like that, it would be, obviously it's going to be polarizing, and some people are going to be upset if you don't agree. And that's really the reason why it's held me back all these years from doing this kind of content, okay? There's so many people out there that sadly, all right, I hate to say it, they cannot think from a mature mindset and understand that people can have different opinions, people can have differences of opinion, right, on everything. Politics, religion, games, food, life in general. And that's okay. It's totally okay to have differences of opinion. You don't have to always agree with everything that everyone else says, as long as you respect someone else's opinion and you make an effort to understand where they're coming from. And it's okay also if you want to relay your opinion to them, and maybe then they'll understand where you're coming from. And then at the very least, you won't be at each other's throats. But I hate to say it, here, at least here in the United States, so ever since Trump was elected many years ago, the politics here are either you're with me or you're against me. Either, you're all the way over here to this side, or you're all the way over here to this side, and these two heads just run into each other like this, like two brick walls, and no one wants to work together on anything, and no one wants to compromise, and no one wants to actually see things as they are. They just want to live in their own big, like, cultish followings, and just hate each other constantly and think that each other is the villain, right? And that's the saddest thing, is that our country will never improve acting like that. Now, going hand in hand with that, sadly, on the internet, there's so many people that are polarizing to one side or the other that, God forbid, you say something political that either agrees or disagrees with one of those sides. Now they hate you. So imagine, here I am. I'm a content creator who makes gaming content, and people like the gaming content. And now I start talking politics, and God forbid that I say something that you don't like. Now, all of a sudden, how many people will be like, well, you know, I like Phil's gaming, but man, he said that thing. He just doesn't agree with me politically on it. So I can't ever watch his content ever again. None of it. I can never watch any of it. Fuck the gaming because he doesn't agree with me on this political stance. And it's like, what? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Right? Like, that's the dumbest mentality I've ever heard. There's tons of people on this planet I don't agree with, but I can still enjoy the things that they do. Actors, musicians, sports people, content creators on the internet. Hell, there's a ton of content creators on the internet that are very polarized when it comes to politics, and I know that, and I pay no attention to that. I just, you know, I watch the content, and that's it, right? But it really feels to me like there's just a lot of people who don't do that. If you don't 100% agree with me, you're my enemy, and I hate you. And that's ridiculous. What a stupid, immature, not developed mindset that is. But so many people are still like that to this day. They do it to me with games, right? So right now, I'm 80 some hours into Baldur's Gate 3. Do you really think I would be 80 some hours into a game that I don't like? I mean, let's be realistic here. No, I would have quit it ages ago. I'm liking the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough because, again, you guys are here, we're engaging, and we're having a great time with it. And that's why I'm persevering through it, despite the fact there are things about the game I don't like. Certain parts, like the gameplay mechanics and the exploration and things like that, I just don't like. And I've criticized them. That doesn't mean I dislike the game, but people can't understand that. Wait a minute. You're criticizing something, but you don't hate it? Yeah, because I'm not a 5-year-old. I don't believe that there's heroes and villains and ultimate good versus ultimate evil. And I don't have to absolutely love or absolutely hate. I can actually have a stance in the middle somewhere because I have that level of maturity in my brain. But a lot of people feel with just emotion. And the moment that they get something they don't like, that's it. I hate it. And that's what I mean. That's what I'm really worried about going forward in my life. If we're going to do this kind of content, right? And we're going to do political talk and stuff like that, that there's going to be people that are just straight up upset with me because they don't agree with what I say. And now they are never going to want to check out my stuff ever again. And that's concerning. You know, I'm not a giant guy on YouTube. I'm not someone with millions and millions of views. And if I lose a big chunk of my viewer base because someone doesn't agree with me politically, that could kill my business, right? So that's why, because a lot of people say, well, we want this. We're asking for this. We want this now. And I'm like, I don't know. Should I or should I not? I'll tell you this. If I ever do political content, it is not going to be on YouTube. I have to go somewhere else. I have to go somewhere where, like, you're not going to get canceled and shit because of stuff you said. And I know there's other places. Like, I know people have talked about Rumble and stuff like that. Like, maybe that would be the future, is that I do that kind of content on a different place. Because I'll be honest, I feel like it wouldn't be fair. If I do it here, you might get people who are just fucking stupid about it, right? And the funny part is, I'm not Republican. I want you to understand that. Like, I'm not conservative. So I would be on Rumble talking not all the way to the right, which is going to be the rare thing, because I think Rumble is where all the conservatives ran when they were getting, like, kicked off of YouTube, right? So, I don't know. Like, I don't know. You know, again, this is just me talking, because I'm getting such mixed feedback. Cut back on the podcast. We want less talking. Oh, by the way, tonight on the late stream, please do a chill session where all you do is talk. What? Right? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. No, see, that's the thing, too. Orange says, I feel like DSP would end up being labeled certain things, like being pure right wing, because of a few views he has that contradict leftist views. Yeah, but guess what? I have some views that contradict rightist conservative views. So that's the thing, is like, people would label me as two things I'm not. Perfect example of this. I know this is a lighter example. When I started as a YouTuber, I told everyone my favorite console was the Xbox 360. I love the Xbox 360. I liked it way more than PS3. So I was a total Xbox fanboy, according to everyone on the internet. Man, that DSP, all he cares about is stuff on Xbox. Xbox fanboy, don't listen to what he says. Then the next console generation, I outright told everyone, I like PlayStation 4 way more than the Xbox One. I think it's a much better console, better games. You know, everything's better on PlayStation 4. All of a sudden, public opinions. Oh, he's a Sony fanboy. He's a Sony pony. Didn't you know Darkside Philly's a shill for Sony? It's like, what? How could I have been an Xbox fanboy, but now I'm a Sony fanboy? It doesn't even make sense what you're saying. And now this console gen, I tell you guys I like them equally. So I can't imagine what people say. You know what I mean? But you're right. Like, now imagine that I'm talking politics. I'm saying, well, I agree with this, but they're completely different from the different parties. I don't know. But I bet you people would always spin it in some stupid negative way, right? Anyway, this is just me talking because, again, I don't really know what to do with my content when I get so many conflicting pieces of feedback, right? It really is confusing. It makes me scratch my head. I don't know what to do when I don't, oh, you're right. Actually, Baldur says now you're just called like a console pleb. You're right. Because I like PS5 and Xbox Series X. I'm the console pleb, but I should be playing on PC. So I'm just a plebeian, right? There you go. There you go. That makes perfect sense. All right. Anyway, so all this being said, again, this is just me talking. I'm glad we talked about it today because I like getting your opinions and I like talking about this publicly. I'm not sure what to do. Again, I'm not rushing into anything. No, we're not doing politics this week or anything like that. This is just me, talking out loud about this stuff and trying to get feedback on it. I want to do stuff that works. At the very least, I want to do stuff you guys want to see. I don't want to just sit here and be doing stuff for me and that my audience doesn't like. I want to be doing stuff the audience wants. And that's why I need this kind of feedback. But again, it's confusing. So tonight, I literally have no idea what we're doing tonight. Like I said, I checked the poll. It said 54% chill, 48 or 46% basically do Tekken. I would like to do Tekken, but it seems like people aren't really tuning in or caring about the Tekken. So I don't want to do a late night stream that's dead. So if we do the chill stream where you guys show up and hang out with me and talk and engage and support and have a good night stream with me, just relaxing and talking and, whatever it may become. Or is it also going to be that no one shows up for that too? I don't know. Okay? Anyway, tomorrow is my final consecutive streaming day of the week. Tomorrow will be more Baldur's Gate 3 and more Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I'm off from streaming on Thursday. Friday is Baldur's Gate 3 and Friday Night Fights Tekken. Saturday is Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon. Sunday is React Day, where it's going to be DSP versus the Internet on the first stream and this late night retro React stream, and I don't know what it's going to be yet because you're voting. But right now, it's heavily towards Heavy Rain, okay? Monday will be Tekken 8 and Like a Dragon, and then Tuesday will be Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon, and then that's it for the week because then I'm off that Wednesday, and then Thursday, I'm doing a full-on day, launch day, February 29th, all day long, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because it's such a big release, and then probably that's going to be, that game will be alternated with Baldur's Gate 3 and other content, but it's going to be a lot of Final Fantasy VII that first week to 2 weeks because I'm very excited to get into it and see how good it is, okay? There you go. That's the schedule. All right? Cool. All right, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. Really, that's like all the topics that I had to discuss. And so I'm not going to, I'm not going to go too crazy here off that in any other direction. But I do want to delete a bunch of crap here because I want to start doing shout-outs. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I want to start doing shout-outs. But yeah, this stupid email's been giving me problems recently. It really has been. Ugh. I can delete all this crap. Hold on. And then we'll get to shout-outs here. Okay. All right. So let's start on the YouTube side of things today. So we started off an hour ago with Cloudy, who did a super chat. All right, let's get Cloudy up on the leaderboard. Let's see what Cloudy had to say. Was wondering if you ever played the DLC for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm assuming it'll be important. It's the first appearance of Yuffie in the remake. No, I did not. From what I'm going to understand, yes, it has Yuffie in it. And apparently there's a whole side plot line with that woman Scarlet that gives her more of a character than it was in the original game. I really don't care. I really don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And I'm sure anything that happened in that would end up being recapped in Rebirth anyway. So I didn't play it, nor do I really think that it's going to be that big of a deal that I didn't. Okay? No, and I'm sure people are going to tell me anything I missed or whatever. They're going to explain it when I'm playing Rebirth. They're going to be like, oh, well, it's because you missed this plot point from the DLC or whatever. So, no, I'm not too concerned about it. Okay? Okay, 672 gifted 2 memberships to the channel this morning. Thank you, 672. First one went to My Ruin, the other one went to Kagome. So congrats to the 2 of you. Enjoy, and thank you, 672, for supporting the channel. Faithin131, 16 months as a member, and says, I just got married this weekend. I still love your content. Thank you, Faithin. First of all, congratulations. Congrats on getting married. That is a huge, awesome, positive step in life. I very much am happy for you, and I hope that you have a very long, prosperous, and loving relationship. And also, thanks for watching the content. I know Faithin used to be around a lot more often, and we don't really see him on streams anymore. But that's cool that you're still watching stuff. Maybe you're watching it behind the scenes or on demand, and that's awesome. I'm glad you're still enjoying it. Jesse, with a membership, says the men are going to be playing Call of Duty. Well, there you go. The real men. Yeah, right. I'm sure that most of the people playing Call of Duty are the real men around here in gaming, right? Ryan, with 9 months as a member, says chill streams are always the best streams. Well, thank you to Ryan for your input there. And Kagome, popping their membership message 18 months, says, Jason. Very good. All right. So that is the YouTube side of stuff there. And now getting into tips and the like. Oh, really? So 1 Minute Man tipped $25 and he has some interesting stuff to talk about today. Let's get the first of all the animation. Thank you, 1 Minute Man, as usual, for your ongoing support of my content. I really appreciate that. So he says the following. Number 1, don't expect many answers. Just expect many more quests today. Great. I mean, it seems to be par for the course for this game. Just when you think you're going to get your answers, the game just hands you more stuff to do. All right. So here's what we'll do. I'll get a giant list. It's like Santa's list at Christmas, right? All right, I already had all this to do, but now let's just keeps rolling out. Here's more for the final act. Good Lord. He also says, find a hammer. I don't know what that means. We have hammers in inventory as weapons, unless you're talking about some other specific hammer. And then he says, by the way, I actually made myself a peanut butter and banana sandwich per your suggestion yesterday. It actually isn't half bad. I might try it again. I never had it. I think it sounds good. Like, I would think the nuttiness and the richness of the peanut butter and a little bit of saltiness, but with like the almost like tangy sweetness of a banana, it actually sounds like it would go. So I think I would like to try it someday too. But I've never tried peanut butter and banana sandwich. I was just a hypothetical thing I was saying yesterday. I pulled it out of my butt. So there you go. Outside of that, I'm not seeing any other tips or contributions as of yet. So what I will do now is open up the stream to Q&A discussion. If you want to tag me in the chat at DSPGaming, and we'll have a little bit of back and forth talk. But outside of that, yeah, I don't see anything yet. Now, keep in mind, I want to say something. The last couple of days, I've been getting some complaints. People have been saying that they are trying to tip, and I'm not shouting out their tips. And I don't know why, and it looks like, once again, PayPal is not fully sending out all of the notification emails. And I don't know why. This happened the other night during the Retro React stream. It happened another time or two during the week where people were like, are you just ignoring me? And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? And then come to find out, someone actually was tipping, and I'm not getting the messages for it. So please let me know if you are contributing and I'm not shouting it out. I want to shout it out. Right now, all I saw was 1 Minute Man, nobody else. So if you tipped, let me know, because I didn't see it. Okay? Dark Gaming says, you missed my 2 million USD tip. I had to retract it. Great. Devin says, which Tekken YouTubers do you watch for tips or tutorials? Man, I don't remember. The first, like, week, there was this one guy who was putting out some really good videos, but I forgot his name. It started with the number 1. It was like one man something. I can't remember what his name was. He put out some really good basics that I appreciated because I learned some basics of Tekken 8 from that guy. And then there was 1 or 2 people who were character specific. If you remember, I was starting with June. So I had 1 or 2 people who had just put out some like June tutorial videos and I watched them. No, I'm subscribed to some Tekken channel that puts out all top level gameplay. Here. It's called, hold on. I'll find it for you. Tekken 8 replay channel. And all they're doing is they're taking the gameplay of top players and they put the replays up. So you can watch them at your own convenience. And it's helped a lot, actually. Yeah. Man, I can't remember the name of the guy. He was really good. The guy who put out, like, those day 1 videos. I forgot his goddamn name now. See, here's the thing. I know absolutely, positively nothing about the Tekken community. I don't know any of the players at all. I was never into Tekken. So unlike Street Fighter, where I could recognize and know a ton of players, I don't know shit about Tekken. So I can't really, like, give shout-outs to Tekken people because I don't know them. I wish I could. They seem to be pretty nice community. They're putting out all kinds of useful information. It's helping me a ton as an outsider to Tekken and just trying to learn and apply that, you know. But I can't find it. And I'm looking in my feed, and now I can't really find that particular guy who was really good that first week. He had a bunch of videos out that were very helpful, but now I can't find it. Yeah, sorry. Anyway. Okay. All right, shout out to... That might have been him. That might have been him. Main Man SWE. That name is sounding familiar. Devin, that might be him. That might have been the guy. I think I watched like the intro video and he explained the basics of how things work in Tekken 8. And I think that was the first video I watched. And it was super duper good. And I think he went into detail about certain characters. I watched some of that. But that was like the first week. Since then, I've been watching like replays and stuff. But I think that was him. Faithin131 with a $10 super chat. He says, yes, between my job and hanging out with my now wife, I can't really make many streams anymore. I do watch your content on demand when I have time to relax. Cheers to another 15 years. Thank you so much. Faithin131, awesome positive message. And again, I wish you the best. Cool. The Elden Ringers. Walk Warrior says, do you think Baldur's Gate fans are similar to the Elden Ringers that used to come by to their streams? Yes. What should we call them? The Gators? The Baldur's Gators. The Baldur's Gators are coming by this morning. Look out, they're going to bite you right in the rear. Damn Baldur's Gators. Yes. The Elden Ringers versus the Baldur's Gators. Wow. The Baldarians. The Baldarians. Beware the Baldarians when they come by. They'll ask you to romance everyone in the game, including animals and inanimate objects. Look at that particular looking ladle. I think I can fit it up my ass. Let's do a cutscene for that. There you go. Very nice. Have I ever visited a truck stop? Back in the day, when I used to travel for Street Fighter tournaments, yes, sometimes you would stop on the highway and go to one of these big truck stop areas to have food at night and stuff like that. There's this one truck stop we used to go to that had all these like restaurants inside, and a lot of them were closed at night, but there was this one that sold all kinds of like overnight snacks. Like they had this like gourmet chocolate cheesecake and stuff. Like, what the hell is this? So now you're driving home from a Street Fighter tournament, and here you are eating in the car, eating chocolate cheesecake. What am I doing? right? The Elden Ringers are the ones they put their hands up like this. The Elden Ringers make the ring with their hands, right? So what do the Baldarians do? Shave their heads bald? No, they shove inanimate objects up their asses. There you go. They just keep shoving things up their butt. That's the Baldarians. Very nice. All right, very good. No, we didn't do suggestion. We didn't do suggestion box, Tommy. We had more than enough to do. Who's James Craig? I don't know who that is. Never heard of him. Oh, there you go. The Baldarians. That's a good one. The Baldarians, all the Baldarians do is they walk around with a 20-sided die, and anytime they have to make a decision, they have to roll the die to make it, right? So they're at the truck stop and they have to take a shit. They open the stall, and then so do I lay toilet paper down over the rim of this toilet seat to protect my ass from disgusting infectious diseases and duty particles, or do I take the chance and just go skin to seat with no protection whatsoever? And then they got to roll the die to determine. And they have the factors like the confidants and the friendship roll, the bonuses, you know, the saving rolls to figure it out. There you go. Survival roll. There you go. Those are the Baldarians. Makes sense to me. Skill Scholar says, if you roll critical miss, the toilet malfunctions with shifty water. No, critical miss, they sit on the toilet and the seat cracks. They sink in ass first. Their butt cheeks are stuck in the water. Oh! Oh! Or even worse, they're shitting. And then they roll critical miss. And it's a disgusting diarrhea dump. And then they go for the toilet paper and there's no toilet paper in the stall. They sat at the stall with no TP. With a soggy, wet bum. This is great. Let's continue the discussion. This sounds great to me. Keep rolling. Anyway. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Again, tag me in the chat. If you want to do a little bit of Q&A, we have a little bit of extra time before we jump back into Baldur's Gate 3 and the Baldarians. The Baldur's Gators, or the Baldarians, we'll call them. Wow. Art Vandalay, that sounds like something I don't care about whatsoever, so I'm glad that I didn't address it. Will we do a community night in Tekken? I don't know. Right now, I'm not too interested in it. Right now, we don't get enough interest in the regular nights for Tekken, so I don't think community night's going to really improve that. I don't get to play Tekken enough as it is. I don't want to sacrifice one of my nights when I'm trying to learn a character in rank to then do a community night. So, I don't know. If there was more interest in Tekken, if more people showed up and engaged in Tekken, and if there was demand for it, maybe I would do it. It literally hasn't happened. There was constant demand for community night in Street Fighter 6. There's really no demand for Tekken for whatever reason. Did I play Project Justice? Is that Project Justice? Is that the alternate name for Rival Schools United by Fate? Project Justice? I feel like it is, but maybe I'm wrong. If it's Rival Schools United by Fate, I've played that. I played the heck out of it. I played both. There was 2 of them. But I don't know if that's what you're talking about or not. Yes, it is. Yeah, I played both. Rival Schools 1 and 2 I played. They both were in my local arcade. Revolutionary games with the whole tagging in and out system. Back then, there was no active real tagging. And that came out around the same time as the Versus series of games. So it's really interesting because it was 3D versus you had tagging in 3D, tagging in 2D. It was really neat. I liked the games, and they were very anime-ish, which was cool. The art style was awesome, but they didn't necessarily catch on in American arcades, which is sad because I think that it was a good series of games. No Tekken Tag? No, I played Tekken Tag. Not a lot, though. Tekken was not popular in Connecticut. It wasn't. Where I was growing up, Connecticut, New York, like, Tekken was not the prominent thing. Street Fighter was always the prominent thing. So even though some of those games were in arcades, they didn't get a lot of play. I'm well aware that other parts of the country and other parts of the world, games like Tekken and stuff were prominent, but they just weren't here, which is a shame because I liked Tekken, but there really was like no comp for it. Really? Anto Kamaru says, the Final Fantasy VII Intergrade was legit outstanding. Amazing music. The Fort Condor minigame was so much fun. The Fort Condor minigame was in it? Ugh. And Yuffie's company was fun. I don't know. I just wasn't into it. I mean, honestly, I just wasn't. Now that we're here years later, years removed from Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? And we know now that the plot is different and everything. I'm actually very excited for it. I'm really pumped for this game next week. Like, I'm legit ready to immerse myself in the world of Final Fantasy VII in a modern way with better gameplay mechanics, better music, and a new plot that's changed from the original. I feel like anything can happen, and that's neat. I'm going to be looking for nuances in the plot that are different from the plot of the original game. I hope it's not exactly the same. I think it will be. We already saw in the preview they were showing cutscenes and stuff that look like they're completely different. You know, things like, what the hell is that? So we're going to find out. But I don't think the Intergrade was that big of a deal. I just didn't care, honestly. Nope, we're not playing Lords of the Fallen. No one cares about Lords of the Fallen now. Are you out of your mind? That game was a fart in the wind. That game came out for like a week. People talked about it. And then, that's not even worth it, man. What a waste. Yeah, there you go. Of course, people got early copies because, again, the reviewers have to have it early. The influencers and the chosen streamers must have it early and must be able to talk about it. So there will be spoilers all over the internet now for it, just so everyone knows. We're all going to know the whole plot by next week. And there's nothing we can do about it. Because that's the modern gaming. That's the difference between when I became a YouTuber and today. There's no surprises. There's no feeling of hype because it's all ruined by people who get the game early. It's fucking pathetic. I don't know why these game publishers keep doing it. They haven't learned their lesson yet. After it happens time and time again that these games that don't need to be spoiled get spoiled, and they still do it because they're stupid as shit. They're still living in this archaic practice that we need early reviews to sell games when they fucking don't. It's just so dumb. Ludacris207, I'm not going to smoke weed, so sorry, we're not doing a DSP 420 stream. That's not going to happen. I mean, let's be honest. In the last 10 years, and this is me talking directly to every viewer out there, and this is even people who don't like me, but think about this honestly. In the last 10 years, how many times was there a major game you loved and you were interested in and you got spoiled on it before you even got to play it or while you were playing it because some asshole put the whole plot on the internet early, right? And you didn't mean to get spoiled, and then oops, there it fucking is. There's memes about it and there's shit like, what the fuck, right? It's bullshit. It shouldn't happen. It literally should not happen, and it happens every single fucking time. So why are we still doing this practice? Why do we keep doing it? People cannot be fucking trusted anymore. So why do we let this happen? Just fucking stop giving out the early copies. Cut the shit. Chats by the aquarium with Philly. I don't have an aquarium. I would like an aquarium. That would be cool to have an aquarium, but I don't have one. I spoiled the end of Final Fantasy 16 for you. What did I do? Did I describe what a turd looks like? Was I like, oh, so it's just like heaping mounds of stinky dew with an emanating smell and flies buzzing around? And you were like, damn it, the ending of Final Fantasy 16 spoiled. Fuck. Oh, because that's easy. Bookworm says, if you want to avoid spoilers, just stay off the internet. Oh, so easy to do. I know. Oh, yeah? Carlos says, look out if you do community night for Tekken. Half the streamers, tournaments, players have troll costumes that get them into trouble. Oh, God. Yeah, can you remember everyone having big dicks and boobs and shit? I didn't even think about that. I did not even think about that. Everyone recolors to make everyone look like a fucking Yeah, I didn't think about that at all. Wow. I read a comment out loud that said what happened. Oh, I apologize for that. Obviously, I probably didn't intend to do that. I probably idiotically did that by accident. The Tekken Troll Force. The Tekken Troll Force. Out in effect. They come out with their messed up costumes. All right, guys, anything else? Any other questions? Anything else to talk about today? So far, like I said, besides 1 Minute Man, I haven't seen any tips. Again, let me know if you're tipping and I didn't shout it out. I don't see anything. And we can jump into Baldur's Gate. Want to go to Street Beefs? Of course. I love Street Beefs. What the fuck's a Street Beef? What anyone's talking about? You've lost me. Time for the Baldurs. It's time for the Baldurs, or the Baldarians, or the Baldur Gators to get their way. How would DS politics not work? You crap on other views on games. You obviously aren't too bothered about polarizing people. Well, yeah, but Bokoblin, the point is there's a difference between being polarized with games and being polarized with politics. So literally, if people... Okay, let me try this again. With games, I understand that there's fanboys and shit like that. But it's not that big of a deal. It's not that serious. Because people still see games as kind of like an entertainment thing, right? It's not a big deal. When you're talking politics or religion, these are things that directly influence people's lives and how they can live. You understand that? A law could be put into place that limits how you live. So people take this shit seriously. And God forbid, again, I disagree with something that someone is strongly for, and then all of a sudden now they hate me because, and I can never watch anything Phil ever puts out again. I love his react show. Man, I've been loving those throwbacks he's doing, but I don't care because, he completely disagrees with me on this political topic. And people will do that, and that's sad, I feel. I really feel that way because I know that I'm never going to agree with everyone in my audience on things, right? Sometimes we'll agree, sometimes we'll disagree, and that's okay. That's part of the human experience, is getting different opinions and weighing and balance them and seeing how they apply to you and your particular position. You'll want to have that. You want to have that variety of input so that you can really have what is more of an intelligent, informed decision-making process when you're an adult. You don't want to only get information on one direction and then everything's that way. You want to get more of a open take on everything, at least in my experience. So, again, games ain't that serious. Politics can be. Politics can be a situation where someone's so upset with you because of something, right? Like imagine something that's important to you and it gets taken away because of a law. Right now, that's what's happening in our country. We got our Supreme Court making rulings that are changing laws. And now certain states that things used to be legal aren't legal anymore. And now people are very upset about that. With right to be. And, you don't want people now to hate on you just because you said, well, I agreed with this particular thing, or I disagreed with this particular thing. And, oh, what? What? Oh, I can't watch that, man. Can't watch him anymore. That's what I mean. If I were to do that, I probably wouldn't even do it on YouTube. I feel like it's too polarizing of a thing that I would probably try to do it somewhere else. But then again, I don't know because you can't even, I know everyone says Rumble is for politics, but I don't think you can stream on Rumble, right? I don't think so. I would really have to look into this. I would have to try to figure this out. So, but I don't know. As you can tell, I haven't seriously looked into it yet. Because the thing, I'm a streamer at heart. I would want to do streams and then also post the content somewhere, right? So I would want to stream while also being able to post the content somewhere. I don't know how it would work. You're saying Kick is a better platform. How is it a better platform when there's no moderation on Kick? Are you out of your mind? Imagine trying to do a political stream on a format where you can't moderate Are you insane? you, the entire chat would constantly be the most taboo, messed up things ever. You'd never be able to speak. Thank you, RAC, for a very generous super sticker this morning. An anthropomorphic lemon hugging what appears to be a small berry or lime. I can't tell what the hell that is, but I appreciate that. Thank you, RAC. 1190. In terms of user experience, well, that's the difference. Is, again, the whole point of me, if I was ever going to do political stuff, I would want it to be an experience where not only can I relate my own opinions, but I want feedback, and I'd like to have discussion. You can't have discussion if it's one-sided, just making a video, right? And I want to stream somewhere, but the question is, where do you stream? On a quick kick, there's no moderation. I'd never be able to talk with the audience. It would be people posting dicks and swastikas and fucking racist stuff and shit constantly, I'm sure. You know, I wouldn't even be able to get an intelligent comment in edgewise from a viewer. It would have to be somewhere with moderations, you know? JD Zinful says, I doubt you'd lose any of your core fans after everything else they've been through. You will, however, introduce yourself to a whole new audience of opinionated people. Great. Ludacris did a super chat, says, you live in a 420 legal state. Can you give us your opinion on federal legalization of cannabis? This is a fun, chill stream. Thanks. Well, we're about to end. We can't do that. If you want to talk about stuff like that, we can maybe talk about it on the late stream tonight, since it seems like people are, that's what they want. They just want to chill stream with me. We're out of time to really talk about stuff like that. But thank you, Ludacris, for the super chat. All right. Yeah, we got to end the stream, guys. We have to actually play. We have to appease the Baldarians. Because if we don't appease them, they're going to start rolling their 20-sided die everywhere, and it's going to be a mess. You won't be able to walk. You'll be tripping on die all over the place. All right? So, thank you for watching the Level 1 podcast. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Fun, open discussion. Some cool stuff. Thank you for... There's my reaction to what we just saw. So, thanks for the feedback. The confusing feedback, nonetheless. But still feedback. I hope you'll stick around for Baldur's Gate, as we're about to get story answers. But in the meantime, have a good one. Maybe join me tonight for what appears to be a late night chill stream. And tomorrow, we're back at it. All right, thank you all. See you tomorrow.